Many thanks for joining us on Aso TV News at this hour. I am Joy Annie. Let's begin with the headlines. Lawmakers push for vaccine funding as first-line charge to eliminate delays process. Federal government launches $40 million blueprint ICT project to digitize 10 facilities. And in business, Minister Edun champions Nigeria's fiscal reset at the UN Finance Summit. And now the news in detail. St. Lucia has conferred his national honor, the Knight Commander of the Order of St. Lucia, on President Bola Tinubu in recognition of his leadership and contribution to strengthening the historical and cultural bonds between Africa and the Caribbean. The former investiture was performed at night by the Governor General of St. Lucia, Ero Charles, during an official reception held at the Government House, Monroe Future, as part of President Tinubu's state visit to the island nation. Moving on now, lawmakers from both the Senate and House of Representatives are advocating for vaccine funding to be placed on first-line charge in the national budget to prevent delays in the immunization financing processes. This was disclosed by the chairperson of the Senate Committee on Health, Senator Ipalibo Banigo, during the multi-stakeholders technical workshop on the optimization of a sustainable immunization financing model in Nigeria 2.0 held in Abuja. Elizabeth Kasham has that detail.
Expressing concern over the country's current health statistics, the chairperson Senate Committee on Health alongside the chairman House Committee on Health Services, Dr. Amos Gomna, stressed that prioritizing vaccine funding just like basic healthcare funds could significantly improve health outcomes.
We saw that this thing was going this way as legislators. We said we have to step in and do something. We have had in the past where we had the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund, which made a difference to where how primary healthcare is being financed, health insurance and emergency. So we said, why not also have a first-line charge?
Delay in releases of funds for immunization will not, when the funds are delayed, sickness and diseases that we vaccinate against will not delay. And therefore, that's why we're calling on everyone that is responsible for timely release of funds for immunization to wake up. And then not just the release of funds, we also need to track those funds and those immunization, those vaccines, whether they actually get to where they are intended to.
Director of Public Health and representative of the Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Dr. Godwin Intadom, assures of effective quality healthcare delivery.
Efficient, equitable and quality health system is one of the drivers or driving force to achieve this, and is to strengthen preventive care through primary health care and community health care, and also by improving quality of care through service delivery.
Chief Executive Officer of the Vaccine Network for Disease Control, Chika Ofo, commended the lawmakers and other stakeholders, stating that placing vaccine funding on first-line charge would help eliminate bureaucratic bottlenecks in financing processes.
Let me tell you something that is very, very important. Do you know that even if you pay for vaccines today, maybe for the rotavirus vaccine, it takes 6 months before you can get it? It's not as if it's a supermarket where you will say, okay, I have my money, let me just go there and I will pick. That's not how it works. So can you imagine that if you have stock out at that time, it means that for the next 6 months, that stock out will remain. Let's not forget that we are the highest zero dose. But here I'm excited because all stakeholders are coming together to say, you know, enough is enough. Let us look for innovative approaches. Let us make sure that this our country, which we call Nigeria, which is our own, will do the needful to make sure that vaccines get to all those that need them.
The multi-stakeholders technical workshop had in attendance key stakeholders including the Budget Office, Ministry of Finance and civil society organizations as they collectively push for a domestically sustainable financing framework that would ensure uninterrupted access to vaccines and immunization services in the country. Elizabeth Kasham, Aso Television News.
Now, President Bola Tinubu has directed all holders of dormant oil assets across the country to immediately reactivate them to ramp up dwindling crude oil production and crude oil revenue. The directive was conveyed to oil and gas operators by the Minister of State Petroleum Resource Oil, Heineken Lokobri, on Tuesday at the ongoing 2025 Nigeria Oil and Gas Energy Week in Abuja. According to the minister, reactivation of the oil asset towards productivity will not only lead to growth in the oil sector, but also sustain investment in capacity building. The federal government has set a crude oil production target of 2.1 million barrels per day and roughly 84.67 trillion naira crude oil revenue in its 2025 budget. This is based on an oil price of $75 per barrel. However, the country has been struggling with its oil production, with output hovering about 1.4 million barrels per day. Nigeria's crude oil reserves are estimated to 5, according to the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, the NUPRC. The federal government of Nigeria has launched a $40 million initiative, the Blueprint ICT Development project, to transform the country's tertiary education system through digital infrastructure and innovation. During the launch in Abuja on Tuesday, the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, said the project would be implemented across 10 federal universities nationwide. The 10 universities selected to pilot the Blueprint ICT Dev project are the University of Calabar, University of Nigeria Nsukka, University of Ibadan, Federal University of Technology Minna, University of Maiduguri, Bayero University, Kano, Modibo Adama University, Yola, Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka, and the University of Jos. According to him, the project reflected a renewed national focus on digital transformation, inclusive education, and human capital development, noting that the initiative aligned with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda. It is expected to serve as a model for innovation and international partnership in higher education. He further explained that the project would support universities in digitizing administrative systems, creating hybrid and cross-border academic programs, and enhancing transitional and transnational education cooperation. Away from that now, in its quest to break the revolving circle of drug abuse and addiction, We the Youth Organization, an international youth and social development organization, recently conducted a sensitization campaign here in Abuja on drug abuse and the many negatives associated with it. Daniel Obi has that report. We'll bring that report to you in our subsequent bulletin. Let's move on now as we'll take a short break, and when we return, the news comes back. To stay with us.
We were warned about this marriage. Because we did not listen, the young maiden is dead.
Nana, come here. Hi. Why do you speak so freely with a stranger from Ajani?
We were just talking about offering Ojigijage a seat on the council.
The gods be praised. Negodo Nselko Sisi, he has 2 wives. So why are you making it look like it is a big deal?
We were warned about this marriage. Because we did not listen, the young maiden is dead.
Nana, come here. Hi. Why do you speak so freely with a stranger from Ajani?
We were just talking about offering Ojigijage a seat on the council.
The gods be praised. Negodo Nselko Sisi, he has 2 wives. So why are you making it look like it is a big deal?
We were warned about this marriage.
Many thanks for staying with us. Now we'll bring you the report where we told you that in its quest to break the revolving circle of drug abuse and addiction, we, the youth organization, an international youth and social development organization, recently conducted a sensitization campaign here in Abuja on drug abuse and the many negatives associated with it. Let's hear more from Daniel Obi.
Speaking at the event, Dr. Francis Pukat Gaya took time to explain the sciences surrounding addictions and abuse, drawing the fine mental lines connecting drug abuse through to drug addictions and ultimately towards the path of treatment and recovery. Mr. Bashir Bala, a legislative and youth engagement officer, highlighted the acuteness of the drug problem in the society. Head of the programs department of the Abuja Broadcasting Corporation, Mr. Adams Momo, in his address went down memory lane on his personal experience with drugs.
Like he said, it's a sickness. So it is not something that is evil, like nexus between drugs and crime. But by and large, these are good people who are sick. So spotting very early, like that man helped me, which is just God's grace. I could have been so hooked on these drugs before I even know what was happening to me, because all of my information when I was growing up was that drug is cocaine and heroin.
While speaking on the sidelines with newsmen, the personal assistant to the president on subnational infrastructure, Mr. Musa Adamu, and Mr. Abubakar Gana, the managing director of the Outlets Institute, both spoke on some of the driving forces behind the drug problem, as well as the fundamentals to true happiness.
Currently, Nigeria is really facing a big drug problem. Our youth are really engaged in illicit abuse of drugs all over the country, and my message to them is that they should know that drugs are a menace to our society, and if they do not stop, it will silently destroy our institutions and undermine our values and destroy us as a society.
If you just do a bit of introspection and think about why people do drugs, it's mainly because they're trying to basically relieve a pain point or some form of stress, or just to feel good about something. But then the problem is, once you take drugs, you basically get into a spike, right? You feel good for a certain time period, but then you now fall back, right? It drops really low, and then it gets a bit hard to pick yourself back up. And that's taking drugs is a very short-term and very damaging way of getting to a good state of well-being.
The International Live, Daniel Obi, Aso Television News.
The Ministry of Aviation and Aerospace Development, in collaboration with the Nigerian Air Force, has inaugurated a joint committee to finalize plans for Nigeria's first ever international air show set to take place this December. The ministry's head, Press and Public Affairs, Odutayo Oluseyi, said at a meeting in Abuja that the ministry's permanent secretary, Dr. Ibrahim Kana, emphasized the importance of strong civil-military collaboration to ensure the success of the event. Dr. Kana highlighted key components of the air show, including an air display by the Air Force and a ceremonial parade for the president and visiting dignitaries. The statement added that the committee will work on selecting a venue and engaging global aviation stakeholders. The exhibition is expected to attract major civil and defense aviation companies, boosting business, tourism, and national prestige. Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar, assured of full support, describing the event as a national pride that will showcase Nigeria's aviation capacity and economic potential. It was all buoyant smiles and good tidings as the class of 2025 of Pace Setters Schools, Abuja, was pronounced graduates. In a ceremony that brought together dignitaries from across the various walks of life to celebrate the achievements of the graduating students, Daniel Obi was there.
By the powers conferred on me by the Governing Council of Pace Setters Schools, I, Mrs. Kate Maswano, On this 29th day of June 2025, hereby pronounce you
Serving as the father of the day, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, the former vice president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, praised the school's chairman, Barrister Kenneth Imasombo, for his unwavering service to humanity.
Well, my love for Pesetas, stems from the love the founder of Pesetas has for education. If there is anything that I admire in him, is his investment in education.
Equipping students with the necessary skills and mindsets to positively impact their communities.
For me, I'm going to live the rest of my life innovating, putting Nigeria first. It doesn't even matter the time you wear. The tag is a tag. What matters is the contribution you give. We had a dream long ago in the formation and foundation of Pesetas, where the stars around the logo, where you have the PS and all the stars all around it. We want to actually be stars as students, stepping in the lead academically, socially, and morally. And today, we're very happy to see our dream come to life.
Some of the graduating students and their parents expressed excitement on the remarkable occasion.
Yeah, I feel very elated, I feel very joyful, excited. Man, today is one of the great days in my life.
The school is amazing. The best school in the world. Thank you.
It's a very wonderful school. It's been a wonderful experience. It helped me grow and learn as a person, become a better person for the society, to contribute to the society and the country as large.
The event climaxed with a special award presented specially by Alhaji Atiku Abubakar to Mrs. Elizabeth Imasombo, mother of the school's chairman, as well as other deserving Nigerians in recognition of their support and legacies over the years. Daniel Obi, Aso Television News.
Now, the Economic Community of West African States' second Deputy Speaker of the ECOWAS Parliament, along with key officials, made a formal visit to the Speaker of the ECOWAS Parliament, Mustafa Cissé Lo, in Dakar, Senegal, on July 1st, 2025. The meeting, which took place on the sideline of the ECOWAS meeting, underscored the importance of collaboration and cooperation among parliamentary leaders in the region. The visit highlights the commitment to strengthening regional integration and cooperation among West African nations through parliamentary diplomacy and engagement. Now, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Maitama Tugal, was representing President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the 4th International Conference on Financing for Development, the FFD4, in Seville, Spain. The minister reaffirmed Nigeria's commitment to financial inclusion and economic empowerment. Minister Tuga, in a speech, highlighted Nigeria's effort to support micro, small, and medium-sized enterprise.
President, Conference, Your Excellencies, distinguished delegates, I bring warm greetings from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and extend Nigeria's sincere appreciation to the government and people of the Kingdom of Spain for hosting this timely, sincere, organized for those